Okay, if everybody could grab their seats, we're going to get started again. Once again, welcome to the conference for the 2014 edition of G2E Asia. We appreciate everybody coming out today. That first session was excellent, I think, on IRs, and we're very excited to have a session now on a part of the casino that's very important. We've been talking a lot about non-gaming amenities. Well, this is very crucial to the gaming part of the casino, and we have a very good panel today. We're going to be talking about slot machines and electronic table games, which are, of course, exploding here in Macau. And we're not just going to talk about Macau. We're going to talk about the entire spectrum of the Asian market as it comes to slot machines. So we've got some great speakers today, and I'm very pleased to introduce to your immediate left is Ken Jolly, to your left on the panel here. Ken is the Vice President of Asia for Shuffle Entertainment, now part of Bally Technologies. Next to Ken is Sabby Gill. Sabby is the Senior Vice President of International Sales for IGT. Next to Sabby is Peter Johns. Peter is the Vice President of Electronic Gaming for Galaxy Macau. I was walking through there last night. It was jumping. A lot of people on the machines over there. And finally, all the way to your right is Takahiro Usai, the Senior General Manager of Uruse Gaming America, and his expertise is here in Asia. So we do have a great panel, and I'm really excited about getting them involved. When Macau first opened, what are we, 15 years, 10 years, 12 years? Slots didn't play a big part. Obviously, tables are still a big part of it, and frankly, people thought slots were going to grow a lot quicker than they have. I haven't seen them grow. In fact, in this trip, I've seen even less slots. For various reasons. So I want to ask the panelists why haven't slots grown more quickly in Macau? And we'll start left to right here. Ken, why don't you give your opinion?
I think it's a bit of a misnomer that when you say slots haven't grown, in actual fact, the slot revenue now is over $1.5 billion a year. I mean, there's markets around the world would love to have a slot market as big as that. When you look at the market revenue-wise, it's growing. We think somewhere this year will be between 15 and 17%. Slots, yes, you're right. It's still only 4% of the total revenue, but the revenue is growing so much that obviously the slot portion that's growing with it. Slots as a piece of revenue is certainly growing. So you're right. It's a small piece of the overall puzzle, but it is growing.
It hasn't grown that much. I mean, it's a 4% part of the big package, but it's grown at a slower rate than the rest of the revenue in the plus the number of slots have dropped, I guess, because they've been replaced by ETGs. Is that correct, Sabby? How does that work?
Yeah, no, that's pretty much as Ken was saying. The market is, with the ETGs, is more of an entry level for baccarat, and it takes that lower end player who doesn't necessarily want to be forced onto the high roller tables, and it's their way of getting over the table cap and all of those elements. The other key element, as Ken was saying, is that when you look at it as only 4%, the fact that it's still continuing to grow is an important factor for all of us. And being as the size that it is, if you think about what happened in Las Vegas, right, exactly the same thing happened, where it was predominantly a tables market, and then sort of slowly but steadily, slots moved into, and then became a significant element of revenue. When you look at it from a Macau perspective, even though it's small, but you have to look at the entire region. When you look at somewhere like the Philippines, it's almost like 50 to 60% is slots rather than table games. And I think that's the important factor for us is, not necessarily concentrate on, what portion it is of the overall GGR. It's really about where do we see the potential steady but slow growth, and really trying to concentrate on making sure that anything that we do from a content perspective, and that's the key, is making sure that the content we provide is so attuned to the individual, the player, rather than just, try and bring over US-based themes or something that we think that's going to work in the other market. It's really about ensuring that whatever we produce is really taking into account every single demographic of the individual that we're trying to target.
Okay. Peter, from your perspective, you've been running ETGs and slot machines in this market for a long time. Is there a problem in terms of growing it? Do you constantly fight with the table game guy about getting your devices in there?
Yes, in a way. I mean, if you look at the growth since, say, 2009, it was growing at about 30%, 32% a year.
Mm-hmm.
It was only last year it dropped to, I think, the year before 16%. Last year was about 8 or 9%.
Okay.
And next year is looking about 10%. Okay. So we are seeing growth. It's a bit like the China syndrome. People said China's slowing down, but the growth is slowing down. We are seeing 10%, which I guess most countries and nations in the world will be quite happy with a 10% growth. It has got more difficult in the last year. We have seen a slowdown in getting product to the floor. There's been factors which have caused that. We have eventually gone non-smoking on 50% of the floor for the last year. So the non-smoking space and the smoking space has sort of got more expensive, I guess. So obviously when you measure a floor per square meter, slots can't compare with tables.
Sure.
Tables have a propensity to play more money and earn more money. And, people in this region have deep pockets, and there's a preference for tables. So slots do fall to the second place on the floor. Like I said, have been growing. We've seen some good numbers in good product. Mm-hmm. And players have actually grown in the slots over the last year. So we've seen some growth, but not as big as in previous years, I guess.
Sure. Takahiro, your opinion?
Yeah, I agree with the both of gentlemen. And looking at the Macau revenue, the pie chart is really unique. 90% revenue is basically a VIP Baccarat.